This is Fred Richani. In this interview, we chat with Bliss director Joseph Maggio, as well as the stars of the film, Clint Jordan and Faryl Amadeus.
Ain't it, baby?
Sure is.
Let's don't ever leave.
Never.
Amy, wake up. Wake up. Amy. Amy. Amy.
You'd tell me where she was if you knew, wouldn't you?
Of course.
Because it's real important I talk to her.
You know, I've been thinking. I'm gonna make some big changes around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what the hell are we even doing with ourselves?
What do you mean? Like right now?
Not right now, yesterday, tomorrow. Where is she?
Hit me when I'm telling you shit!
You still believe what you said about me?
What did I say?
You think I got a good heart?
That's not for me to judge. That's between you and the Lord.
Well, Joe, Clint, and Faryl, thank you so much for joining us to discuss Bliss, which is going to be premiering at Slamdance. What an accomplishment this is. Over 20 years ago, Virgil Bliss, we just watched the trailer for Bliss. The story continues. Joe, I have to ask you first, because I saw the press release that said that this is part of a trilogy. Normally, trilogies come, within a few years of each other. So, first question is, how'd you come up with the concept for a sequel? And was this always intended to be a trilogy?
In all honesty, no, it was not. We made Virgil Bliss. It was really Virgil Bliss was really the product of Clint and I, having just desperately wanted to make a film for so long, and it was a time. This was the mid to late '90s, early 2000s. It was still very much a film universe. For independent film, you had to make your film on film, and it was very costly, and it was there were a lot of barriers to entry for in independent filmmaking. And then the digital thing started happening, and I used to work I did a little print journalism for a while in the mid '90s, and I went to the Cannes Film Festival when the year that Dogma was launched. And I saw, Celebration and Lars von Trier's The Idiots, and those were shot on these little digital cameras. And I interviewed them. Thomas Vinterberg. It was a remote interview with Lars von Trier, and I just was like, forget what I'm supposed to be doing for this magazine. As a filmmaker, I was just like asking them all these questions about how they work with the digital and what that workflow is like. And I came back from that trip and I was like, all right, we're going to make a film with this. We're going to find one of these little digital cameras and we're going to make a film. So that film was not part of some vast artistic vision of a trilogy. Like, that was just like, here's an idea. We wrote the screenplay and we knew some actors, we knew some people who could be on our crew, and we just made the film. But over the years, and it did better than we could ever have imagined. We got very lucky. It premiered at Slamdance in 2001, and it went on, and it had a huge festival run. It was picked up for distribution, Showtime and the Sundance Channel and first run feature. And it just had this whole life, and then we moved on, and Clint and I continued working together, and we made other films. And it just never occurred to me to even though we left Virgil, it was ripe for a sequel. We left him on this cliffhanger, like, what, he's just killed his best friend and taken his first drink in 12 years. What now? What? but Clint always kind of kept, held the torch. He was like, we should go back and revisit, it was Virgil Bliss. And I don't know, it just never felt right. And then, all these years later, I was talking with Clint in 2021, I think. And he said again, we should really revisit this character, Virgil Bliss. And it just clicked. I was like, yeah, why not? Like, what are we crazy? Like, what a great story. It's right there. It's ready for us. Like, what are we doing? And then he had been working with Faryl. He brought Faryl in, and that was it. But we knew, right? We knew once we started talking about Bliss and the story that it was too much for one film, that there would then be a third film. So that's how it happened. Yes, it was not intended. I think that's why there was so much time had passed.
That is wild. So there have been discussions for years, but you didn't really get started on the real work until only recently, which is pretty crazy. So Clint, how is it for you to step back into the role? And Faryl, how's it for you to kind of get entranced in this role that you were in a story that's very deep, has a lot of layers, but it also kind of dark as well and a bit emotionally challenging?
Well, it was exciting. I think when we left Virgil, it was really hard to walk away from Virgil after having lived inside him for a little while. And then Joe and I made films together after that. But Virgil was always sort of our, first love. And I think actually 2020 and COVID hitting inspired us to get moving. If that wasn't going to, nothing was, because after 20 years, we were saying, okay, I'm stuck in front of a computer. I got a mask on my face. I have no human contact. I think we need to make a movie and we need to make one that is about human contact. And I think people are really wanting that right now. I know I am. And so Joe and I started to talk about it. We said, well, where's Virgil now where's he been living for 20 years? And so just that was really, fun to think about, to try to construct his life, what had happened to him since we left him in Brooklyn. And I had met Faryl Amadeus, and I was telling Joe she was just so brilliant, such an amazing artist. And, and that was part of the inspiration too. I said, let's put a band together and let's see what happens. So we got on the phone and it started from there.
It was so great. I had just been working with Clint, and once we worked together, we had such this fantastic artistic simpatico. And I just wanted to keep working with him. I wanted to keep rehearsing and telling stories and creating these characters. So then Clint was talking about his good friend Joe and said, you should meet this mofo. And I said, I got to meet this mofo. And then we got on the phone together and started thinking about Virgil and what he's up to now. And all these characters came tumbling out and the story came tumbling out. And it was so fun.
And it certainly takes a morbid turn. So Joe, like, we know that Virgil already had a chaotic life, prior to this film, right? He was in prison. He was kind of tiptoeing from freedom, hookers, drugs, all this chaos there, trying to live a normal life, but it's not so simple. So, was it always the plan for the second film to be like, all right, let's have more bad stuff happen to him, or did it just kind of develop over time?
I think as the films that I respond to, the filmmakers that I respect, that I admire, the stories that I really respond to, I think are the stories that don't take any shortcuts, that don't rely on movie logic, or where if someone wants to accomplish something, I like to see them actually go through the process of having, of what one does, like, for example, with Virgil, when someone is recently incarcerated, or formerly incarcerated, life is very hard. Like, you just finding a place to live, finding a job, doing the most basic thing, all these things we take for granted, it's really hard. And I think it was important for us in that film to not cut corners, to not make it easy on Virgil. We wanted to present him with what it would really, the obstacles that would really be in place for someone who was, had recently just gotten out of prison. And I think we brought that same ethos to Bliss. Things happen in that movie, and we did not want to give them, the characters, an easy out. And no one has it easy. They all want something, they all need something, and we make it very difficult for them to get it. So that was really I think, because it is difficult. And I don't know, my life is hard. I don't know. Like, I feel like just getting this film made was, it's like, lifting a house off its foundation. It's like, it's really, life is hard. And so I think we wanted to remain true to that. And I think it's fun to watch someone really, and funny. Like, when I watch Virgil Bliss or Bliss, I think they're really funny because it's so hard, because you can see the frustration of the character. They just want it to work, and it's just not working. And I think that's my sense of humor as well. So,
well, we also talked about how all of us, we were so attracted to characters that were trying to do their best, people that just were trying so hard to get it right or be a good person. And somehow the world just kept, throwing stuff at them.
Yeah. And in the original Virgil Bliss, it was interesting because of the technology, this very small camera. We actually went into stores and said, "Hey, man, just go try to get a job." So I would walk into Gristedes and places in Manhattan and ask if I could get a job. And I actually tried to get a job at these places and was routinely turned down. And it was, sort of the early reality TV undercover thing, but I was dressed like I was Virgil and I was trying to get a job. It kind of shocked me at how suddenly difficult it was to just get a simple job, because when I would write in that I had been incarcerated, I was just immediately no thanks. So
Wow.
that was interesting in itself.
Wow, that is wild. So you did some real method acting. This wasn't some
did some
goofy
real
technique.
method
You literally went in went in
for sure
character.
did. I thought I was going to get killed because I was on St. Mark's Place. This is like 99, 2000. And Joe said, "Well, I want you to try to meet some women on the street, and we're going to be in a van across the street hidden." And I'm like, "Joe, I'm gonna get killed, man. This is like the Lower East Side." So I'm sitting there, and people are as dressed as I'm Virgil Bliss, right? I'm in character, and I'm talking to people walking by me on the street. And someone actually, I kept asking, someone came up to me and asked if I had a smoke, which was kind of funny because I had these cigarettes, but they were fake and they were actually herbal, and I gave her one. she smoked it and didn't seem to notice, but the guys who lived on the street started getting closer and closer because they thought I was encroaching on their territory, like, who's this guy hustling on the street corner. And I think we got out of it a little soon after.
I just watched that. The cigarette woman is so cool because she's so beat up, and not physically beat up, but she just looks like
she's
had a really rough night, and she's got like a Walkman on.
Yeah.
And she walks by and you say, you look really pretty today. And she says, "Huh?" And you say, "You look really pretty today." And she says, "You got a cigarette?" And you said, "Yeah, baby, you want a cigarette?"
No,
she takes her headphones off and you say, you look really good today." And she goes, "Yeah, I feel like thanks, man." And she's like, "I don't need a light, I got one." She walks away. It's like,
it was great.
Hey, real method acting, the original reality TV, right? But also, right. I would imagine in a situation like that, Clint, and it probably gave you even more sympathy, not just for your character, but also for people in real life, right? Who are incarcerated, getting out of prison, no matter the circumstances, trying to ingratiate themselves back into society and being turned down even for some of like the, most basic jobs.
Well, absolutely, and we were aware of that. Kirsten Russell, who played Ruby, had experience in her family with addiction as well, and it was a difficult thing for her to deal with, playing someone who's an addict, and we talked a lot about that, and we had it on our mind. Even the ending was something that we could have tied it all up so Virgil escapes and it's more of a happy ending, but we were young and idealistic too, and I think we wanted to tell the story of how often that recidivism is real, and it happens, and people do try to go straight and try to have a life, and the system's just not really. It's very difficult, especially where Virgil was, landed to do that. So yeah, so there were definitely moments. There were also moments that were so grim that they became funny. Like there were times when Ruby would answer the door and say, "What do you want?" I would just start laughing because I'm like, I want to go away. I do not want to come into this apartment right now. And we would have to just get really regrounded in that and tell that story,
Before we let y'all go, we always like to ask our guests some kind of random and rapid fire questions just to get to know them better. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Most awkward moment in the filming of Bliss?
When Clint was Clint walks out of the house buck naked. That definitely that was tough. That was awkward. What do you think?
I kind of have to agree with that. When walking out to the shower scene was at first a little self-conscious, but the crew, everybody was so cool that after a while it wasn't a big deal. But that was a moment that we had for sure.
I think the most awkward moment was asking Julia Kerr to hold the couch while it was moving, while we were doing what we were doing on it. That's not in the movie anymore. But yeah, that was kind of weird to be like, can you hold the couch? Because it's thanks.
Yeah, there's a grip like leaning up against the couch so it doesn't move while we're on it. That's it. That's what's that.
But yeah, it wasn't an awkward shoot. It was
Yeah.
Awesome. Who are some characters that kind of inspired you in the making of Bliss, either from the first film or just in general coming into this?
In the first film, I had spent a lot of time in Michael Olajde's Kingsway boxing gym, and it used to be in Times Square back in the day in the 90s. And a lot of the guys I met, I was really inspired by, because a lot of them had very, very difficult lives, and would show up and work hard. And inside the gym, they had a real nobility and a real sense of right and wrong and fairness and morality. And I really took a lot of that. I wanted to take that into Virgil, this capacity to be violent, but also to have this sense of what they would like. They would like to live in a just world, because their feeling was the world wasn't just, and they had to be violent in order to make it a just world. And so I took a lot of those guys that I met in the boxing gym. I took a lot from.
Faryl, what about you? And by the way, I saw the adorable dog as well.
Yeah, I got two. That was Sophie. She's such a press hound. I actually love. I really liked playing Amy, and I liked building Amy because she was so sort of like, and like I don't know. I really liked being her and being kind of. It just felt so different from who maybe I am. Is that true? I don't know. But I like Amy. It would be real fun to be her for like a week.
Hey, I mean, Clinton walked around New York City, as Virgil, so why not? There's still time.
It's just I don't like wearing push-up bras. It's too much.
Yeah.
Too much. I don't like that.
I feel that. Oh, man. And in terms of and getting in the zone for some of these emotionally charged scenes, because there were some pretty heavy scenes in this film, and obviously in the first film. So for Faryl and Clint, and then Joe as a filmmaker, like, how do you all prepare for that? Is it just something that you just go, or does it take you like a minute to really kind of get in the zone and a minute to get out of it after filming?
Well, I mean, I'll just say it's really Clint and Farrell can answer that. But I mean, I think as a director, that the only thing you can do is try and create the right conditions, the right environment for them to feel like comfortable enough to go where they need to go. And we were fortunate in that we had a great crew, we had a great feeling on the set. There was no disharmony, and I think and it was very small, it was very intimate. And so, it wasn't like there were 20 grips and gaffers standing around like watching, them do their work. So, but that's really all I can do. And then it's up, and then Clint and Farrell have their own process, so they can speak to that.
Yeah, we rehearsed. So we knew what the beats of it were. We had, and then, an actor prepares. I don't know, you listen to some music. I don't know, I don't know. It's movie magic.
Yeah, and I think we had the benefit of all being writers on this, so we had lived with this for a pretty long time. And when you're writing it, and you're rewriting it, going through that process, and then going through the rehearsal process, it kind of gets below the neck, so to speak. You start to automatically react to what's going on in the scene, and when you're with people that you really trust already, and you already have chemistry with, you don't have to manufacture that. That's something that's just there, that you can just let it be, and then you just play the story. I mean, for me, that's kind of how it started to take shape. And there were moments where we would do, because a lot of times you're doing a lot of takes of the same moment. So sometimes it would be a readjustment or something. But for the most part, I think most of the preparation was done in the rehearsal process.
Why should people check out Bliss?
I think it's a kind of movie you don't really see that much anymore. I think it's really, it's a visceral, kind of intense film that's rooted in reality, in human relationships. I think it's just really an enjoyable film to watch.
Yeah, I think it's also inspiring. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Right.
I think it's really inspiring to see that you could make a movie in this way. It's so fiercely independent, and I just think it's a very inspiring project.
I think that it takes you on a journey, and I think that even though people won't necessarily relate to the characters specifically, they'll relate to the journey of those characters, and hopefully see themselves in that, and then be able to get up when the lights come up and stretch and say, we made it. Now let's go eat.
Oh man. Hey, well, you certainly made it. Did an awesome job. Everybody could check out Bliss, of course, at Slamdance, and coming to hopefully more film festivals near you. Thank you all so much for the time. Before I let you go, is there anything you wish I asked you in this interview? And where can we find you next?
Oh no, I thought this was great. Well, we next up, I think we're going to make the part 3 of the Virgil Bliss trilogy. And what about you, Faryl and Clint? That's what I've got on my agenda.
I got a full dance card here. I have a couple films that actually, guys, Any Sign at All just got into the Florida Film Fest, which is
that's awesome.
One. And it may premiere. So I have 2 films that are about to start their festival runs, and I have 1 film that I'm about to edit, and then I'm working on a pilot and 2 features, and so it's full. It's a lot. The planes are circling, and then they're waiting to land.
Yeah. And same for me. I'm thinking about the third now. When I'm driving the car, I'm now envisioning where Virgil is then and what's going to happen. And the strike's over, so we're out there involved in various projects right now. So it's all good.
Amazing. Sounds like a packed 2024 and beyond. Congratulations for all your success, for all the success you will achieve with Bliss and beyond. And of course, as I mentioned, folks can check out Bliss at Slamdance and coming to a film festival near you.